It's Jay back in for another one, and tonight I have with me.
Captain Keith.
What's good, Captain Keith?
Living that dream, baby. Living that dream.
Right on.
It's a new time and it's a new day, new age. New time and age.
That's so true. And speaking of that, we are on the tail end of a quote-unquote era of the DCU. We have
or DCEU, huh?
You know what? They never actually confirmed what it was, did they? Because I know that the people made up something because they never said or kind of coined a term, and then people made it up and they just left it with what the people said or something. Or
so, well, James Gunn and Peter Safran, their era is DCU. Okay. Aquaman 2 was the end of the DCEU. Okay. Although Walter Hamada in Hamadaverse, he would say that the DCEU had nothing to do with that, but because that was Zack Snyder's character, that's between Ezra Miller and Jason Momoa, so that Aquaman 2 is that's done. The DCEU is over now.
Yeah.
Now that film has been released, there's no more remnants left, because Blue Beetle had nothing really to do with Zack Snyder.
It didn't, even though they try to say it was kind of, because at first they kind of act like that was going to be a part of this new thing, but it didn't do well. So now they're trying to act like it's not. It's
a great film. It just had horrible marketing. It might have done better on streaming, but when it went streaming, went to number one when it came out on the streaming service, I wasn't surprised.
But initially, it was supposed to be a streaming movie, and they bumped it up to be an actual into a theater. But they probably should have left it as a streaming.
So there's no more DCEU, unless Netflix, picks up stuff for Zach, but I don't see that happening. He don't need that. So that's whatever. The damage has been done.
Right. Yeah. So do you think they should have a clean slate, or what do you think of this kind of like some of the characters from the old is going to be part of the characters is going to be folded in a way, or
they can do separate universes. That's fine at this point. Like I said, when we get Superman Legacy, eventually I'll see it. But right now, I'm just not excited about it at all. I want an Aquaman 3. I do, and I still feel cheated that I never got my second Man of Steel or third.
Right.
I feel I hate that. I really do. But I was grateful that I got a chance to see Aquaman 2 that it got made. I was very grateful. They could get away with. Don't be surprised if we see Shazam pop up in other people's films. And that might be fun. That might be the way for him to go. What they were trying to do with Henry Cavill, and he didn't like.
Yeah. Those kind of bomb too. It's just like they having a rough time of it, because even that didn't do well.
And it was a good movie.
Yeah, it's just.
But I don't know if because it wasn't marketed properly. I don't know why it didn't do well. I enjoyed the film.
All right, so we're discussing Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. All right, so the premise for it is Black Manta seeks for revenge to Aquaman for his father's death. Wielding the Black Trident power, he becomes a formidable foe. To defend Atlanta, Aquaman forges an alliance with an imprisoned brother. They must protect the kingdom. Directed by James Wan. Stars Jason Momoa, Patrick Wilson, and Yahya Abdul-Mateen. And a host of other... Wait a minute. What are you doing supporting her? We don't watch this movie supporting Amber Heard. I know you didn't watch this movie twice.
I did, actually.
All right, so this one is going to be open discussion. Ain't no spoilers. Heads up now. So you don't watch this damn movie with Amber Heard. How can you watch a convict? No, she's not convicted, but definitely guilty.
Guilty of what? Driving Johnny Depp crazy?
Finger removal and illegal dumping in beds, and how can you support her and her foolishness? This is giving her more money to get more food so she can use to relieve herself in the bed of some unexpected man.
Man, I separate the actress from her role.
Since when?
As Queen Mara, I have a problem with her in the franchise. I never did. So, I mean,
What
and
we talked before about her and Johnny and this whole
yes,
crap going down, and
yes.
so your feelings have changed as far as like okay, so now you don't so you okay, I'm gonna leave it alone. That's fine. I'm gonna let it go. That's fine. It's fine. So, what did you think of this movie?
I loved it. I thought it was fun. I enjoyed it.
Okay.
I was concerned because I know in the comic book,
Yeah.
Black Manta, that it got really dark when it
Mm-hmm.
comes to him and Aquaman. Like he cut off his hand, he had killed his son. I think wasn't Mara dead at one point and she came back? I
Yeah,
think
I
he had
believe so.
killed her. So I did not want to see that in this film, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
glad that I didn't. I mean, but he got close. I'm glad that he got close with the son.
Yeah.
I'm glad that it didn't happen that way. And I like seeing Arthur and Orm become brothers. I like that because I don't know if that ever happened in the comic book. Every time I read it, they were estranged. At
Yeah.
one point, Ocean Master wasn't his brother. Then they changed it. Like when they redo the
Yeah.
storylines,
They did a new
they made it the
52.
half brother.
Yeah, they connected everything. Yeah.
Yeah. So I like that, and it's funny because you look at Patrick Wilson, he looks like Aquaman in the
Yeah, he's
movie.
like the traditional Aquaman
Yeah,
with the blonde hair and the blue
yeah,
eyes and all that kind of
yeah.
stuff, fair
But in the
skin.
comic book,
Yeah.
Orm had brown hair or dark
Yeah.
brown or black
Mm-hmm.
hair. So people were complaining, "Oh, Jason Momoa was too much Jason Momoa." I'm like, well, he's consistent. He was that way as he's always been that way as Aquaman, and that's why we like him because he's a badass. And
Right.
when you see his behind the scenes, when he read for Justice League, he said he tried out for Superman and he knew he wasn't going to get it because he was brown. He said that, and I can respect that being a brown man, brown black man, whatever. But Zach did you one better.
Yeah.
Aquaman is the whitest superhero ever. He's whiter than Superman.
Yeah.
So, bro, dude, what he did for you and what you did for that character, I want one more Aquaman. Jason Momoa said publicly that he's not sure if he's going to get that. He loves the character, but he doesn't know if they're going to do a part 3. But I love him in this role because I've always liked Aquaman anyway.
Yeah.
But I love that he made him into a badass, a big badass.
Yeah.
Big Hawaiian looking badass. I love it. It because we never got that version. And I would love to see them translate that in the comic now. I would love to see him change how he looks. I'm okay with that. But if they don't, they don't. But yeah, I love his take on it because it keeps me engaged. And I love how it was about family. I love the movie. Actually, ironically, I felt like Amber Heard's role was, I could tell they cut it down.
I thought she was in there a lot. I thought she was in there a good amount. I was surprised how much she was in there, but I liked her in it. She did great.
Yeah. So, but and that's another thing too, because in the comic, like I said, before the movie came out, I was nervous because first of all, Yahya Abdul-Mateen II is an excellent actor.
Yeah,
he's the greatest black man. I liked him. He got his villain on, but in the comic book, I believe he did kill Aquaman's father. So, like I said, all this could have went really bad, and I'm glad they chose not to go really bad with it. It got dark, and we got close.
Yeah,
I mean, they made you think, okay, well, the daddy might be dead, and the son might get ready to die. So, I liked that at the end of the day, it became about family, and I even liked Arthur teasing his brother and misleading him up with the cockroach and all that stuff.
Yeah.
That was, I mean, it was cool. And then, but it was interesting too to see how this person who is, I guess you could call him biracial, I don't know what you call him. He's half land, half sea, and having to deal with this council. And they're like, if we talk to them, we want to kill them. So we ain't trying to talk to these people. They've been polluting that shit. No, man, we ain't feeling them. And he's like, you're killing me.
Right.
The politics of it all.
Yeah.
I mean, it was interesting to see all that and how he felt like he couldn't get anything done. It was cool. I enjoyed it. it was nice to go back to that world again, and then how they ended the film, and how he was able to accomplish more, and Patrick Wilson's a great actor. I just watching that gradual, you're winning me over, and what he said to his brother at the end, like, you're better at this than you think you are.
Right.
So I enjoyed it. Yeah, I can't wait to buy it on Blu-ray. I hate that it's not doing well. It's doing okay in China, but like, I don't know what it was this year, man. I have to. It was No Way Home last year. It wasn't last year, right? With Spider-Man.
Was it before last, right?
Was it 2022?
I think so.
What movie did well last year? Shit. I'm kind of scratching my head now. Did anything do well last year? What the fuck? Because I'm like something, but people said, but like you said, it's about the agenda. But I also think there might be some superhero fatigue, and that might be because of Marvel and some of what DC was doing.
No Way Home was in 2021.
Are you serious?
Yep, 2021.
With the 3 Spider-Man?
Yeah. No Way Home.
Was that long ago?
Yeah, I knew it wasn't last year because it's been a weird year, man.
So Miles Morales was last year.
Yeah.
So that was the successful film. That's the only damn movie. The only movie that did well.
Yeah, for the most part.
Animated film.
It was good too. So like I said, I don't think it's, like I said, the whole fatigue thing. I think that's getting being put on just inadequate movies, and like, okay, so like in the case for like Aquaman and some other movies like the Marvels and stuff, a lot of that is expectation. A lot of it is just all the news and information about stuff, and a lot of it people are just done with the ride. And it's almost like, well, we know ain't gonna be no more coming, and because that's the only reason I could really see why a movie that did $1 billion last time would get what it's getting now. That has to be because of all the other stuff that's going on. Because wouldn't you assume if something was worth $1 billion the first time? Because like even the first Captain Marvel movie, that was like $1 billion. You see they're all just bombing, and so but these movies are good, but they're not.
But once again, though, they're not marketing for shit. Just because you put look, you can't stop showing trailers for it once it hits the theater, especially if you want to do well. And like you just said, because the first Aquaman did $1 billion and nobody saw that coming, and that a good portion of that had to do with China, surprisingly. You're supposed to take Aquaman 2 and keep on promoting it on television after it's in the theaters. And you didn't do that. You didn't do that with the Marvels. You didn't do that with Aquaman 2. There's so many films that you didn't keep promoting. And then you get upset when they don't do good. You got to spend some money to make some money. You got to put when you put number 1 in the country, people pay attention to that, especially in this country. When you say number 1 in the world, now maybe it's not number 1 in the world, but if it's number 1 in the country, there are people who are going to go watch it because they saw that.
Well, I think that when, the whole DCEU, is pretty much over. So it's almost kind of like how much attention you gonna give to an old car that's about to die. Now, you might put some new tires on it, but you're not gonna get a new paint job because the engine's old. So all that stuff. Because the thing about it is really
that's Warner Brothers and James Gunn and Peter Safran.
If it's a movie that is that big, it really shouldn't need that much advertising. To be honest, if it's really that big and you had that big of a good time with it and all the other kind of stuff, you wouldn't really need a reminder for that. Now, would a reminder help? Yes, but it's not no convincing stuff like something that you never heard of before.
But the minute Peter and James got the go ahead, and we knew that there was not going to be any continuation of the Snyderverse at all on any level, you shot yourself in the foot. Even before The Flash came out, and you leaked that you were cutting Henry Cavill's scenes out of the film. I mean, a lot of people just didn't go because of that.
Well, they were trying to trick people into going just to go see that scene in Black Adam. So they were trying to use that to get people to come in, which I didn't think was a fair way to advertise something. They should just anyway.
See, but I still feel like Black Adam should have came out like 2 weeks earlier because then Black Panther 2 came out like 2 weeks after that.
Even that didn't do great in comparison to
It
what
did
it
better
did
than
before.
Black Adam. It did better than Black Adam.
Most Marvel
Like, we know
movies
it
do
would.
do better. Yeah, most Marvels. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
but
you're gonna do an anti-hero movie,
you
their
don't
first
put-
movie versus blockbuster Black Panther. Of course, Black Panther is gonna do better.
Right, but I'm telling you, you don't put Black Adam out in the same month as Wakanda Forever. That was just some dumb shit. No, you don't do that. You know, you something like that you want to put out when there's nothing. We literally had like a month or two. There was nothing to watch. Nothing to watch in the theater.
There's still nothing to watch, and people still not going to go see Aquaman like I would expect. You know, so what now? Okay, what's going on now? It's still in the theater. So movies in the theater so long that they're on Netflix and you can still go see them in the theater. Basically, it's been a couple movies I almost went to the theater to go see, and I was like, oh, I have it right here. So yeah.
And then I asked myself, because now the next question is, would Black Adam have done better if it had just went to the Max? But I knew he wanted to get the box office gross. I get it.
It probably would have.
Or a split release. Or a split release.
I don't know.
You know, because once again, when those go to digital, they tend to go to number one for that week. And people start checking them out. Even, like I said, even with Blue Beetle.
I think a lot of the stuff that be on, well, it's not fair to say for everybody, but places like Netflix and Amazon and stuff like that, it'd be so many, even on HBO Max, there's so many just average stuff that's on there. Anything that's new that was in the theater, you're going to give it a little bit more credit than you would something that's going straight directly there. So sometimes it's not hard to beat. It's like you want a hamburger or a steak. Or
sometimes if you say it's exclusively here, that's all it takes. But I guess it just depends.
Yeah.
I mean, we won't know now, but what's done is done. But but I did enjoy Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. I thought it was good. Jason Momoa didn't disappoint. Mm-hmm. Everybody was great. Patrick Wilson was great as the curmudgeon on. Don't call me brother. Yeah. It was entertaining. I liked it. I would love to see a longer cut of it, actually.
It was pretty long already, wasn't it? It was like, it's over 2 hours. I enjoyed it. I thought the first one was all right. I like this one much better. I thought it was gonna be a dumpster fire because the way, you know how we watch social media stuff and we see reviews or hear like people talking about or we hear about box office information about what's projected to make and all this other kind of stuff. So it all sounded not good or whatnot. And so for the most part, we love movies, so we go watch movies anyway. So regardless of what people are saying or what we might hear, we're gonna test the waters for ourselves. And so I was planning on seeing it regardless. But I will say, what I was hearing about it just seemed like, man, if I didn't care for the first one that much, this one's gonna be a hot mess. And I was very surprised. I took the whole family. It was like a fun family movie in a way. When I heard stuff like Jason Momoa was was kind of writing the treatment of the story, how James Wan gave him some power to do that kind of stuff, that he has some input and stuff like that, along with a couple other writers. I was thinking like, oh, that could be, interesting. He's talking about he want to do some stuff to do with the environment. I'm like, oh crap, here we go. People got their thing they're trying to champion, and sometimes it could cross over too much and it might mess up something else. And I will say it was well done. It was fun. It was entertaining. I still don't believe that Aquaman killed Black Manta's daddy. I think Black Manta daddy killed Black Manta's daddy. He pulled a Batman where it's just like, hey, I'm not going to kill you, but I don't have to save you either. And so in that kind of, you get what you get. So Aquaman didn't owe Black Manta's dad.
I can't remember what happened in the comic book. I have to read how.
Well, we're going by the movie because that's what we're watching. Yeah. But okay,
out of curiosity.
Yeah, but in the movie, gotcha. It was self-inflicted.
Should have been pirates.
And I thought it was kind of interesting too that it wasn't like a superhero thing to do, because usually the hero would help in spite of, but the way they played Aquaman was like he wasn't going to engage, and he kind of got what he got. So I had
he wasn't even a hero. He was kind of like a vigilante, wasn't he? Was he Aquaman yet?
Well, he was already with the Justice League.
Was he?
Yeah, they came out after the Justice League. But I felt a ways about it, like, but okay, this is their interpretation of Aquaman. So, but I thought it was interesting how he kept walking around pissed off and mad. talking about he killed my daddy. Now, if you would have been like, hey, he didn't help me save my dad, that's a little bit different than Aquaman killed my dad, because Aquaman didn't tell him to go into that tanker, to be killing those folks, to be jacking those folks, and for them to get caught up. And they come to find out he's working for Aquaman's brother Orm anyway, because Orm was paying Black Manta and his dad to hit up those ships so he could start a war. So, yeah. But yeah, so I thought the movie was fun. I like the buddy cop thing with him and his brother. It was funny. I like their relationship. I thought it was kind of funny that the Aquaman made a reference to calling his brother Loki, which is kind of true, because the Patrick Wilson character Orm was kind of like the Loki kind of troublemaker kind of character and stuff. The special effects were cool. Yeah, it was just, another like an adventure movie buddy thing, buddy brother get together. I don't like you, but we gotta help you kind of thing. And you kind of get a more of an understanding and respect for each other as the journey kind of went on, which I thought was pretty cool. But yeah, it was very like comic book and cartoonish with some of the acting and some of the narratives and the inspirations and stuff. It was just like, oh, you just, it's not too deep. And the way the characters played it and the way the movie looked, it fit. It wasn't disjointed. It didn't feel out of place. It kind of like, okay, a theater is supposed to be bigger motions and louder voices and tones. And so it felt like that. But yeah, and Amber Heard, she really did her thing. Matter of fact, I thought she did better in this one than she did the other one. She was in there a lot more than I thought she would have been in there. But when she was there, she was used well. It was good to see Randall Park, and he played Dr. Stephen Shin.
Oh, yeah, he was great in it.
That was pretty cool. The reluctant doctor who's kind of stuck with the bad guy, and he kind of wants to do what the bad guy said because he don't want to get hurt, but he doesn't have the same messed up morals as the bad guy, so he tried to do what he can to do the right thing. So it was good to see him in there. Nicole Kidman, she did her thing as usual. Dolph Lundgren, I'm always glad to see him. I enjoyed him as well. So,
and then we get Boba Fett. Wasn't he the daddy?
Yeah, he's it's always his name. It's always good to see him.
Tamora Morrison or something.
Yeah, something like that. But always good to see him.
It was cute though when their mom was hugging them. She's like, "Look after each other. Promise me."
Right.
You see these warriors. One's the king of Atlantis. They were both kings of Atlantis. They're mighty people. They're mighty men, and they got to listen to their mama. It was cute. They're like, "Promise me." So, that was a nice scene.
Yeah, it's funny how they had a whole bunch of little things like that, but still, it seemed like if you would have seen it in something else, it would have rubbed you the wrong way. But in this, it was still okay. Like the whole trope with I'm a dad now and I got a kid and I got to change the dirty diaper and all so But they still it fit. It wasn't like it didn't. Like I said, on paper you think, oh, that's so cheesy and that's just they're gonna go this and he gonna make dad jokes and blah blah blah. But it fit. It fit Jason Momoa's personality, because he's this big dude that you believe will kick butt, and he's also the same big dude that you would think would be, driving donuts with his motorcycle to make the kids smile and laugh. Yeah, yes, that's all him. That's all. Yeah, yes. that fits. And so, his actions was true to that character and what they came up with that character. So there was never any weird kind of conflict of why he would say that or do that. It was all him. So when he was serious, it fit. When he was joking, it fit. When he had to take care of business, it fit. When he was joking around in light, it fit. And so that made for, like I said, a really entertaining movie. And the stakes, I felt the stakes when they were, and using these kind of movies, you don't feel like anything's gonna really be in danger and gonna really be any kind of problems or anything. But like you said too, so some people who know the comic book stuff would be kind of concerned because they know there's a lot of tragedy in the story that they're adapting, and so you don't know if they're gonna kind of do that in this one. So if you know the comic stuff, you would have a different kind of tension. And I think if you didn't know and you were just watching the movie for what it was, it still had a way of still having you go down this journey, and you had some concerns, and you were kind of wondering who was gonna, was everybody gonna make it or not. So I thought that was pretty good to pull off. That's not
because I didn't know. I wasn't sure.
Yeah,
even
so
when I was watching.
Pretty good.
Yeah, I was prepared for somebody to die. You know what I mean? I'm like, and I'm like, it's gonna get.
Even Amber Heard, she survived.
yeah. Well, like I said, because I think in the comic, yeah, Mara gets killed, baby get killed, his daddy get killed. I mean, Aquaman be going. He went through it at one point. Like I said, he only had one hand, for a while.
Right.
He looked rough. You know what I'm saying? Like he went through some things. You know what I'm saying?
He definitely did. He definitely did.
Yeah. So I'm just like, I don't know. I don't think I didn't read the New 52. When they rebooted him, where he has everything. He's back to normal. He's got his hands. No one's dead. I mean, I don't know. I haven't read him in a while. I have to take a look.
Yeah, because they did have like a new start.
And comic books do that. My dad used to teach me that every so many years they'll redo the storyline for all of them.
Yeah, they just wouldn't really announce it like that, or they would never let them get past a certain age anyway, so it'd never be an obvious thing. But just like soap operas, it's the same thing. That's why I never really judge comic books in a certain kind of ways, because I'm used to watching soap operas and things where somebody will have a twin brother that came out of nowhere, or somebody has surgery and they have a completely different looking face, and they supposed to be the same character.
That's my favorite. That's my favorite.
So all that stuff. So I'm used to that kind of stuff, and I don't mind it. And like I said, comic books and stuff lend to that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And so I'm sure it's a little different for folks who watch movies when those same things are kind of leaking into the movies now. It's kind of for us, we're used to it. For moviegoers who's not used to these kind of storytelling tropes and things like that, it can be kind of a little off-putting. Like, what do you mean? Like, I thought Tobey Maguire was Spider-Man. Oh, I thought we're used to being different interpretations in the multiverse and stuff. People say they're sick of the multiverse. That's all that comic book stuff is. These different alternative worlds and interpretations of different.
You're not seeing it properly, or
right.
Or it's not being presented to you properly where you can actually really appreciate it.
Right, you're getting shorthand, but just imagine the quick little clip that goes by real quick, and you're like, "What's that?" We might have watched hours and hours of content pertaining to that little just cut scene that was just 2 seconds for you. It was years of us, reading or watching movies or content that was based off of that, and so it's interesting to see. It's a different kind of perspective on the thing. That's why, even though they get overused sometimes, when they do have certain casting or certain things in this multiverse, and it's just like I said, it might for you like a commercial just flashing by, showing a picture of this, picture of that, picture of this, picture of that, and it's like, I don't get the big deal. That's why
even with Joker,
oohs and ahs and stuff is because people really dug into that content, and it really does mean something, even though it's just a flash in the pan for the movie.
I mean, like I said, even with Joker, you could say that was a multiverse film.
Right. Like I said, this one was a good one. I was pleasantly surprised. Like I said, my whole family really enjoyed it. It's actually one I would watch again. Matter of fact, I think I did watch it again. I think I watched it once in the theater, and I watched it once at home. And so, like I said, to me, I enjoyed it much better than the first one. So
I love the first one, but I like this one too. I mean, like I said, I just want a part 3, but we'll see. Play it by ear.
Yeah.
I'm okay with them continuing, but rumor has it he might want to become in Lobo. So, but I mean, and that's fine too. But I would still want part 3 before you got to that. But it's whatever at this point. I'm grateful I got this. So,
more than likely it's going to be a done deal. But even if so, I think it's not a bad way to end. I will say it's still ended on a good point.
It did.
And out of all the movies that I wasn't really caring for to see necessarily, I was very surprised about this one. And like I said, good job, James Wan and Jason Momoa. Like I said, for his story idea, whatnot, his input and whatever, and for doing a good character, a character that's usually kind of bland, and they try so hard to figure out what to do with him. It was pretty neat how this was kind of left field, but still kind of worked out. And the biggest factor in that, not only the writing and all that stuff and the design, it was the actor Jason that really brought the character to life, where everybody fell in love with.
He has done for Aquaman. He's established a foundation for Aquaman the same way Sean Connery established the foundation for James Bond. Anybody who becomes Aquaman now at this point is going to be compared to Jason Momoa, and they should be, and the only way they can survive it is to make it their own and be separate.
This was a great way to end the DCEU. It was fun.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
Me too.
This is one of the better movies that's come out recently, and it's still in theaters. So if you're on the fence about it or heard too much bad stuff about it, there's still a chance to go see it in the theater. Which is, I think, the best way to see it, because it's a spectacle movie with a lot of colors and a lot of action and stuff like that. A lot of fight scenes and stuff in there too.
Yes,
This was a full movie. I was pleasantly surprised. So, definitely, folks, check it out. It's still in theaters. It's a fun watch. Give it a try. Yeah, and I can't wait to see what James Gunn do with his new DCU.
Yeah, I'm curious. I'm down at this point. I have closure now. Jason Momoa gave me closure.
Right on. So. All right. So, do you have any final words, or we pretty much said it all?
Go see Aquaman: The Lost Kingdom. Yeah, we both loved it. It was good. It was a good movie. So I will be buying that on Blu-ray. Most definitely.
Right on. All right. So that's been Jay and Keith. Until next time, peace.
See you somewhere out in space.